If you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it.
Obviously, the sage of Omaha is, one of the greatest value investor at scale that we're aware of. But how does that qualify him to have an opinion about kind of what's happening in this space? I wouldn't go to him for that type of advice. It's not what he's qualified.
That's Buffett versus Brock. Brock Pierce, the big Bitcoin bull billionaire. And that was last week. Crypto, obviously, right now getting crushed, plummeting in lockstep with the stock market. The global crypto market cap now stands at $1.5 trillion. That's a 50% drop from its November peak. Bitcoin now hitting its lowest level since July of 2021 at $30,727. Make that $698. But there are some bottom fishers out there. In the last 17 minutes, we saw this pop up on Twitter. El Salvador President Nayib Bukele tweeted this: El Salvador just bought the dip, 500 coins at an average U.S. dollar price of $30,744. Of course, it was El Salvador that has become that big nation to certainly say, you know what, we will take Bitcoin as legal tender. Bitcoin stocks are falling in lockstep as well. Bitcoin mining leader Marathon Digital down about 19.5% right now to $12.03. Let's find out what's really going on from their perspective. Joining me now on a Fox Business exclusive, Marathon Digital Holdings Chairman and CEO Fred Thiel. Fred, really rough day, but as you stretch it out, it's been a rough year, certainly, or a rough half a year since the highs back in November of 69,000. Give me your sense of what's going on here.
Sure. It's obviously the markets are challenging. If you look historically, this is, we were kind of at this place in May of last year. We were at this place in January of last year. And if you go back to, late 2020, we saw the dramatic rise in Bitcoin. So if you go even to kind of mid-year 2020, we were in the teens. So I think, Bitcoin continues to retrace back down to this kind of support level, which is kind of between 28,000 and 31,000 right now.
Yeah.
It may go below that. Obviously, we don't control that. But the fear and greed index in Bitcoin right now is at about 11 or kind of 10, 11. And if you look at the fear and greed index charts, similar to the VIX, Bitcoin hits this level just before it turns around and goes in the other direction. I'm not going to say that that's going to happen now. The macroeconomic situation is very different. We're dealing with risk off, we're dealing with inflation, we're dealing with the Fed, not raising fast enough to kind of console the market. Lots of stuff going on. Regardless, it's Bitcoin is an asset class that's going to be there for the long term, and we're very confident. We haven't sold what we hold, and we hold of public companies. We're amongst the top 5 public companies that hold Bitcoin in the U.S. today. So
don't you have to though sell some though? As I understood it, you've got to raise some cash, sell some of the Bitcoin that you have in order to reach your financial expectations.
So we have a lot of levers we can pull. If you look today, we may have to sell some. We can borrow against it. It's obviously not an environment where we want to be issuing equity. So we have different levers we can pull. It's going to be very interesting to see where Bitcoin kind of shakes out here for a while. But my personal opinion, not giving financial advice to anybody here, but I think we're going to kind of hold in the high 20s and then kind of bounce at that level for a while until the macroeconomic environment kind of turns around. There's a lot of capital on the sideline looking for a place to go. There's a lot of fear right now.
Yes.
And I think if things stabilize, we'll see some people coming back in the market.
Sure, and the de-risking is very evident right now. So that means that if you're in if you believe that we're going to the high 20s and kind of hanging out there for a while, there's more loss to come, because right now we're at 30,662 at the moment. Very, very fast-moving sell-off here. It's going just all over the place at the moment. I'm watching it in the charts here, but let me ask about your Bitcoin mining. You have mined every single quarter. You've been able to really dig up quite a few of these Bitcoin. And so I guess I want to know why the slowdown. There was a little bit of a slowdown in your mining recently.
Sure. So 2 primary drivers. One was the majority of our mining capacity up until recently has been in Hardin, Montana facility, which operates one of our legacy facilities. And that is powered by a coal plant, and it does not have a grid secondary connection. So it's totally non-parasitic. It's a stranded power asset. And that facility has had ongoing maintenance problems. And we had a number of days where we were shut down due to mechanical problems at the plant. We don't own the plant. We don't operate it. We just buy electricity from it.
How do you, well then, and you also have a new operation in Texas, do you not? So
Correct.
Are you still making capital expenditures even as the price of Bitcoin plummets?
So our model is not to invest in the infrastructure. We invest purely in the miners. So we ordered a lot of miners last year and earlier this year, and we're basically receiving those miners and paying for them as we receive them. And those are the miners we're deploying right now. So we don't have to invest in data centers because it's not part of our model. That's the whole reason we're asset light. We just invest in the mining rigs, which, in a really tough environment, we could, if pressed, sell those miners. We have very, very low pricing on those miners. So, even in a very bad market, we could liquidate miners if we had to. I'm not saying we intend to at all,
okay.
But we have a lot of levers we can pull.
Fred, there are something like 13,000, 14,000 different tokens out there. I mean, anybody who wants to, it feels like, could just make one. Do you suppose, or could you imagine that a sell-off like we're seeing right now in Bitcoin and then anything related to that will shake out a huge number of these tokens that are out there?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a flight to quality over time. People obviously need to raise liquidity. This correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ and just the crypto asset class in general and the NASDAQ, as people are selling off, they're getting margin calls, whatever might be happening to them in their personal or institutional financial situation, they're then selling off all their crypto holdings kind of across the board. I think as we come back around the other side of this, there's going to be a flight to quality. People, they get burned once, they maybe get burned twice, but they're not going to get burned 3 times. So.
Well, the fire's licking at some people's feet at the moment. Fred, it's good to see you on a trying day. I know we appreciate you coming on as we watch the stock. Marathon Digital down about 19%. We do have Bitcoin at the moment at 30,605.